Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zhang here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Ranked where I climb the online series 12 ladder and provide live commentary as I go. In my previous video, which I've linked down in the description below, I featured a team with Alolan Persian, Assault Vest Kyogre, Life Orb Zapdos, and Quick Attack Zacian, so we'll be playing a couple more matches with it today. Details for the team are in the description below, including a rental and a paste if you want to try it out yourselves. And if you haven't seen the last video, it was a really fun one. I'd highly recommend it, so I've also linked that down in the description below. So thanks so much as always for watching Road to Ranked, and hope the beginning of the season is treating all of you well. Question of the day, we've been playing Series 12 officially for over a month at this point, so I'm curious what you think about the format now relative to the beginning of the format. For me personally, I feel like people are now exploring more interesting restricted duos. You know, initially it was all about Zacian, but I feel like I've seen a lot of non-Zacian teams recently and a lot of really cool duos in particular as well. So yeah, I would say I'm definitely more eager to play it than I was a month ago, and I think now that the meta is developing and with in real life events actually coming back soon, I feel like we're going to see some real progression with the meta as well. So yeah, I'm enjoying it, definitely even more than I think I was when it first started, but let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And if you want to just jump to the battle that features the ZAMAZENTA, which I mentioned in the title and thumbnail, that's going to be the second game today. So all the battles are timestamped in the description below, and let's get started. Our first game of the day, and we're up against Palkia plus Zacian. Okay. This is a really strong duo. I haven't played against it too much, and I haven't tried it out myself, but it was one of the first duos that was on my radar because it did very well in a couple of grassroots events at the start of Series 12. So, how do we want to approach this? Thundurus is probably support here. I'd be kind of surprised if we were offensive because, like, you already have a Zapdos on that team already, and that kind of fills the same role. Ferrothorn's actually interesting here as to switch it into Palkia's attacks because you can take both Max Geyser and Max Wormwind. But okay, so I was going to say I like Persian plus Zapdos. The only problem is that I think it's probably going to be Eerie Impulse Thundurus. But I guess I could just fake out into Max Lightning, maybe? So Persian, Zapdos, Zacian, Kyogre. I feel like that's just the most consistent for here. Part of why I really like Persian Zapdos is because of the fake tier combos. Zapdos is also really good into both the Rillaboom and the Incineroar, so it should deter my opponent from bringing those a little bit more. Now, if I were my opponent, what would I lead with? I would definitely be leading Thundurus here, I think, if it's support-oriented. Something like Thundurus plus Palkia, Thundurus plus Zacian, I think. Those are probably the scariest leads. And if I expected those to come, would I have led any differently? I don't really think so. Like, team matchup-wise, this doesn't feel amazing to me. Makes me a little bit nervous, so we'll see. I think it's partially because, like, Thundurus can exert pressure with Eerie Impulse, Palkia can Trick Room, Zacian's just Zacian. Yeah, they're gonna go with Thundurus and Palkia. Okay. What do I want to do here? I just wonder if Palkia actually angles to Trick Room here. I'm also worried about, like, KOing Thundurus and then giving them a free switch-in into Zacian. I feel like I should max Thundurus here, though. Okay, I'm going to fake out Max and Lightning. I don't think I'm that worried about Trick Room because, like, you don't actually have that many Pokemon that can take advantage of Trick Room. I guess Palkia is decent under Trick Room, but, for example, your Zacian actually kind of struggles if Trick Room gets set up here. So, ideally, they just max Palkia and then just Geyser into the Zapdos, and then we one-shot Thundurus. Then turn 2, I can protect Zapdos, and then just Icy Wind if they bring in Zacian to drop its speed. Okay, Palkia protects. That's a pleasant surprise. I'll take that. Yeah. And this is the interesting thing, right? Like, if my opponent maybe could have actually run a offensive Thundurus, but given the team composition, especially because they have Zapdos, it just felt kind of unlikely they were actually running it. But Thundurus does survive, which is not amazing for me here. Okay. Are you Citrus Berried? Yep. I mean, I think Eerie Impulse is coming out right now. I could Foul Play to finish off Thundurus. Like, the question is, what do I think Palkia is going to do this turn? Even if I think I'm going to get hit by Eerie Impulse, I feel like I should still be attacking with the Zapdos. So I'm going to Foul Play Thundurus here and then max Airstream. The idea here is to get a speed boost, so then I can outspeed Zacian. The only scary thing here is if Palkia clicks Trick Room this turn. But they're going to Dynamax. Okay, sweet. That works out okay for us then, I'd argue. It is a shame we missed out on the KO there. If I get that knockout on turn 1, I feel like I'm in really good shape, but now I'm expecting to get hit by an Eerie Impulse from the Thundurus, which is a little unfortunate, but at least I have Fake Tears. Dealing damage to Palkia is also a little bit scary because I don't have Play Rough on the Zacian in the back. Yeah, there's Eerie Impulse. Yeah, no way around this though, other than maybe Max Guarding Zapdos this turn. I guess Max Guard would have been okay. Ooh, I don't get the knockout onto Thundurus there. Maybe that's actually a good thing because it denies them a free switch-in. Well, that could be the case. This next turn, I'm interested in the idea of switching Persian out into Zacian and giving it a speed boost via Airstream. They're gonna Geyser. Okay, they do target the Persian slot. That makes sense. Going for another Eerie Impulse onto Zapdos here certainly makes some sense. You just Eerie Impulse Zapdos and Geyser into the Persian slot. I really don't want to switch out and then have Zacian just get dunked on. Okay, I'm down for an Icy Wind here. And Airstream into Palkia. I guess I could have actually clicked Max Flare into Thundurus, change the weather. Oh, that's kind of interesting. You can see the upside of bulky Thundurus, right? Like, hung around for a lot longer than I would have liked it to. And not only gets 1, but 2 Eerie Impulses off. Okay, we finally take care of it, though. If I had Thunderbolt on Zapdos, I would have considered not maxing on turn 1, but because I didn't, I felt like it was basically my best, you know, it would be in my best interest to just go for the Dynamax immediately, because I don't have a stronger max option. And like Kyogre as a max option doesn't feel super strong here. Okay, they go for Quake, so they'll get a special defense boost. This does allow me to bring in I can bring in Kyogre or Zacian. Not having Play Rough here, it makes things a little bit tougher, I think. If I had Play Rough, we could just easily knock out the Palkia. I think we'll still bring Zacian out, though. Obviously, my opponent has their Zacian in the back. They can bring that in immediately. Yep. Okay. Now I've got Kyogre in the back. Being at -4 special attack on Zapdos is not amazing. Like, I want to switch it out, but I don't want to give up the speed advantage. Clicking Thunder into Zacian for a pair is also intriguing to me as an option. I'm gonna double up onto Palkia here. Thunder into Behemoth Blade and try to just take care of it so he doesn't get a third max move off. But I don't even know if I KO with this double up. Yeah, Thunder does like negative damage. Okay, they just go for Behemoth Blade. Thunder surviving that turn 1 is just unfortunate, but I assume it's Eevee to survive that, so it's a pretty important benchmark to hit, right? Okay, so we'll go for our own Behemoth Blade. I'm really curious what my opponent's final Pokemon is. I don't even think this KO's Palkia, but okay. It actually manages to get the knockout. That's nice. The thing is, I couldn't switch in Zacian for a speed boost last turn, because like my opponent did a really good job covering for that slot. And as you see here, I'm slower than their Zacian, which isn't surprising since the Zacian on this team isn't exactly extra fast. Incineroar's our last one though, so that actually gives the Kyogre in the back a shot at this end game, which at least is good. I think here I just protect Zapdos and I sacrifice my Zacian to get a free switch into Kyogre. Last turn of Electric Terrain, 2 turns of Rain. I need to get 1 Origin Pulse off in the rain, right? So, yeah, I'm going to Behemoth Blade, Zacian, protect here with Zapdos. The fact that they have Incident as their last one is at least good, though, because I think if you had had, like, Rillaboom instead, this game would be over, and they would have had won this. Okay, they fake out into Zacian. Play rough into Zapdos. Okay, electricity disappears. It's actually the last turn of rain, meaning I will get a full 5 turns of rain again, which is kind of nice. Now I've got Kyogre in the back, and that can obviously just Origin Pulse. I'm at neutral attack right now. I don't mind a Behemoth Blade into Zacian and a Thunder, because Kyogre Origin Pulse should just finish off Incin in the rain unless there's Salt Vest or Pasho Berry. So I think what this comes down to is whether or not I hit the Origin Pulse. I could also get a Para with Thunder here, and that would be huge. It's not bad damage for us being at, what, -4 special attack. No Para, unfortunately. Okay. We're going to Blade. But here's the thing, yeah, they end up blading into Zacian, and the Incin actually shouldn't KO the Zapdos. So this is nice, because now I get a free switch into Kyogre, which is exactly what I was aiming for. Yeah, and they just Darkest Lariat. Cool. This is also why I didn't want to switch out Zapdos, because we do have the speed advantage right now. Oh my gosh. I thought that was a crit. That wasn't even a crit. That's impressive damage, honestly, I gotta say. Well, I can bring in Kyogre now. We know it's Assault Vest on the Kyogre. We know that they have Play Rough on the Zacian, so that's scary. My Zapdos will faint to one more Life Orb hit. I mean, here I just want to go for Origin Pulse into Protect, I think. Yeah. I guess I don't need to protect the Zapdos, but by protecting it, for example, if they miss with Play Rough, does protecting make a difference? It's just like, I don't need the Thunder damage right now anyway. And a Play Rough shouldn't KO Kyogre. Oh, they have Protect on Incineroar. Okay. And that's fine as long as I hit this Origin Pulse on Zacian. Because if I hit this, then I can just Thunder Origin Pulse next turn. Okay, nice, we connect. Even if it just doesn't KO, Thunder certainly next turn will, I think. Okay, does not get the KO. Now I'm just afraid Incin's like fast enough to outspeed the Kyogre. I mean, what if it's Sash Incin? Oh my gosh. Well, I've got Heat Wave actually, so I can just click Heat Wave to cover for that, right? Well, not necessarily. I mean, Zacian's gonna protect here, right? Maybe I should have just attacked last turn. I just didn't consider the possibility of Protect Incin. I actually think it might be Sash Incin. But then your play would be to just protect Zacian and sack the Incin. Okay. No, I will just go for Thunder. If they are Focus Sash or Pasho or AV, so be it. Yeah, Zacian goes for the obvious protect. Okay. But the thing is, I can't I can't target the Incin here because I'll just faint from Life Orb. Okay, so here's Origin Pulse. Does connect. Let's see if you're Focus Sash. It's not Pasho. We obviously can't be Assault Vest because of Protect. Okay, it's not Focus Sash. Oh my gosh. I have seen Sash Incineroar before, and given that I had Protect, I felt like Sash was a little bit more likely as well, but fortunately it's not the case. So, actually, no need to rely on a miss, just in case. And Thunder is always accurate here. So the thing is, like, even though it seems like it doesn't matter that we're just clicking the Thunder with Kyogre, it actually makes a difference, because one way we could throw this game is if their Zacian had a Quick Attack. Quick Attack KOs my Zapdos, and then I miss Origin Pulse with Kyogre, right? And then they just win with the Play Rough, or even Behemoth Blade, or Sacred Sword the next turn. So, yeah, that's why it's important to always consider that. And it's like, it seems so, like, it feels like we have the game 100% won, right? But sometimes, you just always go for your attacks with higher accuracy if you can secure the knockout. That seems fairly obvious, but sometimes it's easy to just think you have the game won, and just, spam the A button, and then it can actually lead to some throws potentially. So just gotta want to cover for that. But yeah, that was an interesting one. I mean, their Thundurus gave me a lot of trouble, but ultimately what was really important was that they had Incin as their final one rather than Rillaboom. I don't really love how that played out, but this matchup isn't exactly super easy either because I don't have good damage into Palkia. Palkia just has a really favorable matchup into this team in my opinion, so at least we were able to stall out the Dynamax and not take too much damage from it. And what was really big was being able to knock out Palkia with the double up the turn that I brought my Zacian in. So yeah, the fact we were able to actually get that knockout was really, really good. But scary match for sure. And that shows the value of defensive Thundurus being able to survive Fake Out into Life Orb Max Lightning into Foul Play, which is quite impressive. So let's keep things going. Next match here, and it's Zamazenta and Zacian. Whoa, that's so cool. I don't think I've ever gone up against that duo specifically. Huh. Okay, so with this team, like, my opponent only has one clear Dynamax option, and it's going to be Defiant Thundurus. You could be Max Urshifu as well, thanks to coaching stuff from Zamazenta. And I guess Rilla and Incin theoretically could max in this matchup as well. Man, Iron Defense Ferrothorn's like somewhat interesting to me, but like I also think we can just get away with, like, I feel like they're really weak to Zapdos, so just Persian, Zapdos, Zacian, Kyogre. Lando I don't love because of the fact they're probably Defiant Thundurus, and I can't really, well, I guess the upside of Lando is like Rock Tombing, but that's basically, also if Rock Tomb would activate Defiant even further, so I don't think we want to do that. I mean, this wouldn't be a terrible matchup for Ferrothorn, but it would mean dropping one of Persian or Zapdos. And I really don't want to drop either here. Because Zapdos, I think, is just by far the best max option. Kyogre as a max option is really weak into Defiant Thundurus. Okay. I guess, actually, now that I think about it, a Thundurus lead, like, well, I have Foul Play on Persian, actually. So what I could do is probably Foul Play Max Airstream. I've done another Foul Play. Like, does that even KO? Probably not. Yeah, this one's interesting. I don't think I've ever seen Zamazenta and Zacian together, so that's really neat. Like, I'm just eager to see how it operates here, because I haven't run into it before. I'll go with Zamazenta and Thundurus. Okay. How crazy would it be if it actually were defensive Thundurus here? And like it Eerie Impulses Zapdos? That'd be really sick. So the thing is, I have to be very careful with clicking Icy Wind or Fake Tears here, assuming they're Defiant, right? Turn 1, Persian going for Fake Out onto Zama is pretty safe. I don't know if I actually want to do that. I could see them airstreaming into this slot as well. Like, I'm almost down to just switch into Zacian, Max, and just Lightning Thundurus. By not going for airstream, though, I'm basically allowing them to outspeed me in subsequent turns, which is a little bit risky, I think. I guess Zama here, like, may not feel the need to protect here. Like, they can just go for coaching immediately. How do I beat Thundurus plus Zamazenta? Landorus doesn't solve anything because it's Defiant. Kyogre is very weak into this combo. Maybe just outright leading Zacian? I don't know if switching up Persian out there was right either, but I didn't want to airstream on turn 1. So, yeah, this is just a strong duel. I don't have a super clear-cut answer into it. Like, with Persian, if I stay in and click Fake Out, right, like, then if Thundurus just max airstreams the Persian slot, turn 2 feels kind of awkward, whereas here, at least, like, I know the Zamazenta isn't really that offensive, so I can try to get my Zacian in and give it a speed boost, and then use that to outspeed Thundurus. Oh, I didn't airstream. I should have airstreamed here so that I could outspeed Thundurus the next turn, I think. Yeah, that would have been better. They do just go for coaching into airstream. Yep. Okay. Zacian takes that pretty well, though, so that's not too bad. And, like, even if you're Assault Vested here, like, yeah, I just think Airstream would have been a nice play to give my Zacian a speed boost. Okay, that looks like AV to me. I think Quick Attack into Lightning might be enough to KO, though. So I think that's what I want to angle for this next turn. I guess the question is, does +2 Lightning KO Zapdos? I don't know. Yeah, I'm down to Quick Attack and Max Lightning here. Because I think for my opponent's shoes, you're thinking, well, I can just knock out your Zacian before you attack with the Max Lightning. That should be AV on Thundurus, right? We didn't see a Life Orb, but took that Max Lightning decently well. So the thing is, if you're my opponent here, you could go for coaching and then a Max Lightning onto my Zapdos, and that's scary. That's another option. Snarl. Oh, boy. I didn't think about that. Okay. That's not ideal. And lightning onto Zacian. Yep. I mean, Snarl's not even like that crazy of an attack, but makes sense. I don't think we KO Thundurus now, unfortunately. And I don't think a fake out KOs Thundurus either. Oh, how sad. Okay. The problem is their speed. It's like Zacian, Zamazenta, Thundurus. Decently speedy. I should have led Zacian probably immediately. Very cool duo. Just haven't really fought against this before, so it's a first. Got Kyogre in the back. I want to Airstream so I can outspeed the Zacian in the back at least. But I don't even think that KOs, to be honest. Ugh, what a nightmare. Okay, Zama switches out. I see, to give your Zacian a speed boost. Oh no, to bring an Incin. Okay. Well, I'm okay with that. You know what the problem is, though? The Zamazenta, we've seen coaching Snarl. I wouldn't be surprised if we were wide guard. Yeah, they lightning into oh, no, they're lightning into Zapdos. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Well then, at least my Focus Sash is conserved here. I do get the Foul Play to KO Thundurus and some free damage onto Incin. So, but the problem is Zamazenta gets access to Wide Guard. So do you have Wide Guard? That would imply your moveset is Snarl, Behemoth Bash, Wide Guard, and Coaching. I could see that being the case. Okay. Now what? Yeah, I just didn't see the Snarl coming from Zamazenta, so I thought the quick attack into Max Lightning would be a knockout for sure when we had that positioning earlier. They bring Zacian out, and the problem is obviously they can just fake out right now. Got Kyogre in the back, so I'm angling for a free opportunity to get it in, essentially. -1 on both ends. I could switch Persian out into Kyogre. But then Kyogre just faints next turn. I think I need the free switch into it, unfortunately. I'll go for an Icy Wind here and a Heat Wave. Not really expecting too much here, but we'll see. Okay, then faking out, clicking Fake Out into Zapdos is actually a big deal, because it means I had the opportunity to switch into Kyogre, though. Ooh, they have Sub. Okay, that's really bad for me. I don't think I can beat them at this point if they have Sub. Because I needed to drop their speed before the Sub went up. Well, actually, if you're my opponent, you can Parting Shot now. Man, they had a lot of tricks up their sleeves here, but this is a really cool team. I can Foul Play into Zacian and Heat Wave here. Okay. Good Protect. Yeah. Sub is such a nice move because they have Coaching on their team. Even if I had given Zapdos a speed boost earlier, I mean, how much would that have really helped me? I just don't have a really consistent answer into Zamazenta plus Thundurus, given that they have Snarl on the Zama. Because my main max options are both special attackers, and they have Snarl and Incin. What a nightmare. Okay, I don't... Well, there's still one out here, I guess, if Persian's bulky enough, thanks to Fur Coat, to take an attack from the Zacian. And then we just Foul Play to break the Sub, and then, like, Origin Pulse KOs. Yeah, so we're not out of it yet, but them having Snarl was also tough in that position because they actually broke the Focus Sash on Persian's end here. Okay, so we'll go for Foul Play. And just Origin Pulse. I'm actually going to click Water Spout here, I think. But maybe the Zacian just targets Kyogre. Because they're Sub, I don't even think Origin Pulse would KO. So I might as well just hope for them to target Persian, thinking they're going to get the knockout, and then they fail to get the KO. Okay, it is Behemoth Blade here. Onto Persian, okay. Nice. I mean, this is the fur coat difference. What an amazing ability. Okay, does Foul Play break the substitute? I mean, it's using their attack. They're at +1, so I would think so. Okay, nice. Yep, this is exactly what I was aiming for. Now we get Water Spout for a double knockout. Woof. It's looking kind of rough here, but we found a good angle. I think if Incin had pivoted out into Zamazenta the previous turn, like rather than snarling and just like either naturally switched out or like U-turn / parting shot it out. I mean, we haven't even won this game yet, right? Like Zamazenta can still potentially win in this position, but your moveset's Snarl, Coaching. Like I said, I kind of expect them to have Wide Guard, but I'm not 100% sure yet. I've got Fake Tears, so I'm down to Fake Tears. I mean, it makes no sense for them to Wide Guard, right? I just like... Yeah, I'll click Water Spout for now, because it's still guaranteed damage. Yep, there's Behemoth Bash. Okay. Into Kyogre. Cool. Yeah, that just does no damage. That's the downside of Zamazenta, right? You're not really dealing too much. What a cool team, though, honestly, and they played nicely as well. Persian was so clutch here, though. Oh my goodness, just surviving that attack from Zacian. And that's just a KO. This was an amazing demonstration of what Persian can do. Like, and why Foul Play is also a nice attack, right? Because it's like we can actually do some damage into Zacian because it takes advantage of them having an attack boost. So yeah, but this is definitely one of the most interesting teams I've run into, and I really want to try Zacian plus Zamazenta. I'm curious if Zacian had Sacred Sword or Close Combat there, because I would think if you had it, you would have targeted the Persian with it. And we can actually check their teams. I'm really excited to see. Okay. Zamazenta did have Wide Guard, which is what I was thinking of. So yeah, this is such a tough moveset to go up against. Max speed. Okay, they had Close Combat on the Zacian here, so yeah, I think they may have just thought Behemoth Blade would do enough, but Persian's ability is absolutely amazing, so it actually allowed us to survive. And so, is there ever a reason to not go for Close Combat there? I mean, it does just do more damage, right? Base 100 from Blade versus, and you get to what, 150 with Stab, and then Close Combat would be 240. So yeah, we won this off them probably just underestimating Persian's ability, or not knowing it, and not wanting to drop their defenses. But since they had the sub up, they didn't need to worry about dropping their defenses if you just KO Persian outright. So this is a game we should have lost, I think. Scarf on Urshifu, that's interesting. Admint, which makes sense because you're scarfed. Miracle Seed Rillaboom, doesn't have Protect. AV on the Thundurus, it is just Jolly, Max, and then Figgy and Sin. Makes sense. Cool. Very neat team between the Zacian and the Zamazenta. And yeah, I think if they had just clicked Close Combat there, I would think that's enough to pick up a KO at +1, especially because it's Close Combat and not Sacred Sword. So yeah, we got a little bit fortunate they didn't go for it there, but shoutouts to Persian for clutching this one out for us. So let's look for one final game. Last one here, and we're up against rank number 22, so excited to play against someone so high ranked. They've got Calyrex-Kyogre. Okay. This is a cool duo. I don't think I've really seen it that much, but it makes sense. Very fast-paced, hyper-offensive. You've got Regieleki, Calyrex, Whim. That's just one of the fastest cores in the game. And I wouldn't be surprised if Kyogre were Choice Scarf here. Although, the interesting question, there are a couple. First one is, where's the Focus Sash? Because Calyrex, Whimsicott, and Regieleki all like to run Sash. Second of all, like, who do you actually want to max? Because if Kyogre is Scarfed, I would think you'd want to max either Thundurus or the Calyrex. I think I'm just going to get outsped here, which is the problem. Persian can at least pressure with the Fake Out. If I were in their shoes, I'd probably lead Whim plus Regieleki, which is kind of a nightmare. Oh man, their team is just so fast-paced. Whim plus Regieleki. I mean, I've got AV Kyogre here. I'm bringing Ferrothorn here because it can actually tank an attack from the Kyogre and then just Power Whip in return, but like, This is a really hard matchup, I think, because they're so fast-paced, and I can't really outpace them at any point. And they also have, like, the threat of Max Regieleki, Max Calyrex, Max Kyogre. It's hard to cover for all three here, so we'll see. But I generally don't love the matchup here. Okay, Indeedee plus Calyrex. I'm actually okay with that. Actually, I think this is one of the best leads I could have gone up against, given my lead here. Because turn 1, I can just go for Icy Wind. Honestly, into Origin Pulse. I mean, yeah, this lead is really good for us, in my opinion, all things considered. Because, like, Kyogre actually gets out in a relatively safe spot and isn't threatened by, like, a Dynamax Regieleki on turn 1 of the game, which is really critical here, in my opinion. I think the main thing I'm worried about is Dynamax Calyrex and Max Psychic into Kyogre, especially if Indeedee goes for, like, a Helping Hand. So as crazy as this seems, I'm actually thinking about switching Kyogre out just to get the Icy Wind off initially onto Calyrex. Honestly, I'm not opposed to that idea here, because I think Persian's in a good spot, and I think because I've got Persian out, Indeedee here is also in a tricky position. And if I can get Calyrex to max on turn 1, which they go for, amazing. So the idea is now I drop your speed initially with the Calyrex, or sorry, with the Persian, allowing me to then bring in Kyogre or Zacian next turn. Yeah. I wonder if the Indeedee even bothers going for, like I was worried about Helping Hand plus Max Psychic into Kyogre. Nice. Oh, it's Overgrowth. That's even scarier. Jeez. Ferrothorn was the best possible switch in there. Oh my gosh. Okay, that was a really scary turn 1. But the thing is, I felt like Persian was in a pretty safe spot, so the fact that they don't just, like, eliminate my Kyogre immediately is such a good start for us. And their Life Orb. Yep, makes sense. Cool. Dropping their speed here is a really, really big deal, because now my Zacian and Kyogre, after another Icy Wind, will certainly be faster. I don't know if Kyogre outspeeds right now, just because Calyrex is pretty speedy, and I think the Kyogre on this seems a little bit bulkier. Okay, low-key, I could even max Ferrothorn, because they set up grassy terrain, so I could just max Overgrowth with it. I actually don't even think that's a terrible idea in this matchup. I mean, they're going to have Kyogre in the back. It's just, what is their fourth? Incin would make the most sense, so I probably don't want to max if it's Incin, because max AV Kyogre looks really good right now, in my opinion. Honestly, I'm down to just foul play Power Whip the Calyrex. Okay, Indeedee switches out. I expect Incin here. Okay, Whim is fine. I don't care if you outpace me in this game. Holy cow, that was so much damage. I mean, Power Whip doesn't miss, it should just KO the Calyrex. Oh, that KOs though, that's not good. Ugh. Okay. That is a pretty big problem for me. Well, maybe not. So we've seen... I could have protected Ferrothorn there. Yeah. I don't know why I thought I could survive a Life Orb Phantasm. I think partially it's just because I haven't played against Max Calyrex in a long time, so I'm not used to the damage calcs here super well. The interesting thing is Persian will just outspeed and can KO with the foul play. You could protect Tailwind. That'd actually be a really strong option from them. Sash is probably on Whimsicott. I don't want to get hit by +1 max Overgrowth, then I can't protect with Kyogre. If I had actually maxed Ferrothorn there, that actually also would have worked out for me, but I had to assume Incin was in the back until I could see otherwise. Didn't want to make that call immediately. But I guess even if you max Incin, then regular Kyogre is still really solid in the end game. Okay, like the obvious play for them is to... I think if I were in their shoes, I'd actually protect the Calyrex and Tailwind with a Whimsicott. Or I guess you could just Moonblast this thing as well. Because the thing is, if you just attack here, like, I can just foul play into Calyrex and protect. It's the obvious play. I guess I'm still going for it. I feel like I really had a good position, though, and I kind of tossed it away. So let's see if Calyrex protects here. Yeah. But, like, how do I get around this? And they just Energy Ball. If they didn't, because they didn't Tailwind there, I could have KO'd the Whimsicott. But the thing is, now they can just Tailwind into Astro Barrage. This is gonna sound crazy, but I might honestly max. Yeah, they played that really nicely. I just messed up turn 2. I didn't think Ferrothorn would faint to a Life Orb Phantasm. I wonder what the calc is there, but I learned something new. Yeah, you can just Tailwind into Astro Barrage now, so I'm thinking about maxing this thing just to survive. Unless Zacian takes a +1 Life Orb Astral Barrage. Okay, I'm gonna go for it. I don't really see too many ways to win this game, but double protect through surviving Life Orb Astral Barrage into Max Darkness is my best bet here at this point. But this game can show, like, how just that one knockout on Ferrothorn completely blew the game open, right? I actually felt like I had a really, really good position. And if I had actually just protected Ferrothorn even, I would have been in a pretty good spot as well. But the lack of either. And the lack of the ability for them to just get a KO and then also get a special attack boost was what led to a disaster. You get the double, though. Okay. So we're playing towards our outs right now. Let's see if they do Tailwind. Yep. Hey, Persian, if you survive this Astral Barrage, you'll keep us in it. It's Life Orb. And they're at +1. So I'm not that confident on surviving here. It was worth a shot. I didn't really see any other way we could win this one. Yeah. Really cool team. I'm glad to go up against a Life Orb Calyrex, by the way. It's such a shame because turn 1 was literally the best turn 1 I could have dreamed of. I guess instead of Icy Windy, I could have clicked Foul Play instead. That was basically it. This is never going to be an easy matchup, but like we actually put ourselves in a really good spot to succeed after turn 1, but turn 2 I just messed up. Yeah, I mean, I don't have a Dynamax to play towards. They can just Astro Barrage. So, well played. If I could replay this game, I'd play turn 1 the same way. Turn 2, would I protect Pharaoh? I wouldn't max it, I think. What if I maxed Persian there? No, I don't even think that doesn't even do that much more, I think, with Max Darkness. Actually, I don't know about that, but yeah. Maxing Persian is actually interesting if I think it's going to one-shot Calyrex the next turn. But Indeedee was still, like, Indeedee was still out on the field, so he could pressure me with the Follow Me, so I don't love that idea. I guess it's just to protect Ferrothorn there. I do want to do the damage calc against Pharaoh, because I wasn't sure that was going to get a one-hit KO, so, yeah, I'm just curious about it, because I don't know my max Calyrex calcs into Ferrothorn very well, so let's pull up the calc. Okay, so pulling up the calc, my Ferrothorn had 159 HP at the start of that turn, and if you look at the calc here, assuming they're timid, there are 4 scenarios in which we survive, and then the others, they get the knockout, right? So the odds are pretty heavily in their favor, but yeah, this calc is why I thought Ferrothorn could survive, and if they were timid, then indeed we would have been able to survive. But if you change this to modest, which definitely could be the case, then yeah, you just always get the knockout on the Ferrothorn from the range that we were at. So curious if they were timid or modest. If they were, even if they were timid, the odds were in their favor there though. And so yeah, that's a good calc to know. At full HP, we actually have a very good chance of surviving, assuming they're timid. And I mean, timid just makes more sense because you just naturally outspeed Zacian as a result. But I think modest, because they have Tailwind, could also make some sense. But yeah, so with you can see here, if we were at max HP, then it's actually a 6.3% chance to one-shot. So yeah, impressive damage output from the Calyrex there. And if I'd actually just protected Ferrothorn that turn, I would have gotten more recovery that turn between leftovers and grassy terrain as well. And then the next turn, it's like, yeah, Whimsicott can pressure with Tailwind, but I can knock out the Calyrex with either of my Pokemon. Now, the other thing to talk about in that end game is that my opponent didn't click Tailwind with the Whimsicott, and I was pretty sure the Calyrex was going to max guard, but I thought they were going to Tailwind instead. I think Tailwind would have been a more consistent move on their end, because I could have capitalized off them not Tailwinding and doubled up onto Whimsicott with a Foul Play into Behemoth Blade, get the knockout onto that. And then the thing is that you never set up Tailwind for the Calyrex, so then I actually just outspeed the Calyrex with Persian, with Zacian. I can Icy Wind again, and then bring in Kyogre to outspeed as well. So yeah. But it's cool to see a Life Orb max Calyrex, especially with max overgrowth, because I feel like as of right now, almost all the Calyrexes we've played against are basically just the variants with Focus Sash, Astral Barrage, Will-O-Wisp, Protect, and then like a Psychic type attack. So it's cool to see someone try out a very different set here, and ultimately Persian could have been really good, but yeah, I just lost a lot of momentum. And I mean, Calyrex Shadow Rider is a Pokemon that can snowball really quickly because of special attack boosts and because it's just so fast as well. And my opponent did a good job bringing that Whimsicott for Tailwind support. If they didn't get Tailwind up in that endgame, I also would have felt pretty good, but they managed to bring in Whimsicott perfectly to support the Calyrex. And so Indeedee and Whimsicott, both really good support members for Calyrex, and they played it very, very nicely. So yeah, I'm mainly curious if they were timid or modest, because if they were timid and we do actually get the low damage roll, we should just win the game immediately, because I don't see how they can beat Kyogre from that position. So yeah, it goes to show how every single damage calc, every single, potential to survive can really go a long way. But some really cool teams in today's episode. So thanks so much as always for watching. Leave a like if you enjoy. Don't forget to answer the question of the day, and I'll see you all next time. All right. Peace.